Welcome to Haunting Live. We're here tonight to answer any questions you might have about the paranormal or whatever you might think. And I have some friends here in live. We're live. And I'd like to ask you each to introduce yourself quickly.
Hello, I'm Sally Diane. I'm a psychic here in Stratford, and I've also known Wanda for many years. I'm also a teacher.
Okay. And you may know I'm Wanda, and I'm a psychic medium. And this?
I am Deanna Brown-Furlong. I'm a psychic medium.
I'm Hilary Fletcher. I'm just learning to be a psychic medium.
I'm Pamela Mahoney. I am a psychic medium as well.
Alright. And the first one's actually for Sally. Hey Sally, how long have you been doing reading?
Oh my goodness, it's been 47 years.
Okay. Alright. This is for Pam. What kind of reading or energy do you pick up?
When I go into a place, I often sense, sometimes I can see, I can smell. Often I have overwhelming feelings of what's energies there.
Okay. This is for Deanna. So what I heard though is actually in Milton though that you actually were there actually for fall lockdown. Somebody was being taken over. Chris was trying to actually close down the chakras. How did you know that Chris needed your help?
How did I know that Chris needed my help?
Yeah.
Good question. I just kind of felt pulled towards what was happening, and I saw the person panicking with that, so I just felt that I needed to just go over and start putting my hands on them. I don't know, that's what you meant, sorry.
All right. Hilary, when did you start working with OGPS/HauntingLIVE, and how did you know so that you were actually within the spiritual world?
I think it's been a couple of years since I've been working with you guys. I've kind of known about the spiritual world and that I could see things for many years, but I never really said anything to anyone. When I was a kid, I used to get deja vu all the time to places. Like I'd go to a place and I'd be like, oh, I've been here before. My parents would be like, no, you've not. So I had that all the time, and I don't know.
Okay, question from Wanda. Over the years, we have seen you actually on kids' television shows, CTV, also with OGPS filming, and also Paranormal Around the Region. What can you say, though, that you've actually learned over the most years?
Over the years, yeah. Well, I've learned that there's more to everything than meets the eye. Like, it's real. There's things that your experiences, you should honor them because they're real for you, and I never stop being amazed, ever.
Trevor, any questions so far?
Not yet, but we have a few people in. We have Sandy, and we have Brenda.
Yeah, Sandy should be here tonight, but
Yeah.
we'll catch up with
She
her.
was supposed to be, but she had some other issues this weekend, so. We miss her, and we'll work with her soon.
Yeah.
And also Monica's in too.
All right, back to Sally. Why did you change your title from psychic to clairvoyant psychic?
Just to be more specific, because psychic is kind of a catch-all, but with clairvoyant, it lets people know how I sense things. that I do see things visually, which is what a clairvoyant does. You know, I also sense them, and you know, which is clairsentient, which is just feelings, and clairaudience. But I thought that, you know, to put that clairvoyance there was just more specific about what I do.
Okay. Pam. All right. Will you be working more with this group of people? And were you actually at the workshop in last May that I saw you at?
I was at the workshop last May. We had some incredible activity going on during that time. I was very happy that they asked me to come back to do this, and if they asked me to come back again, I will certainly do so.
Okay.
Okay, we've got a question here on chat. It is a couple actually. Let me go back up here. This one is from Brenda for everybody. How active is the Queen's? So I guess mostly maybe for Sally. How active is the Queen's Hotel?
Well, I could just say very active, but you know, it is very active. But there's different ghosts and different sort of things in different parts of the hotel. Like if you go down in the basement, there's Curry who stands. He literally just stands in the doorway of the laundry room and looks in. So if you're in the laundry room, you feel watched. Then there's another one down in the basement that's just not so nice that we won't talk about. Here on the main floor, there's Elsie Deal, who I've had a number of interactions with, and she was a dining room manager for a number of years in the early 20th century, and she's still around and still very much part of the Queen's. And of course there is the Pinckney family on the second floor, and they lived in the Queen's, in the Pinckney, you know, back then the Pinckney Suite was a whole wing of the hotel, and they lived there for 2 generations. So of course the Pinckneys and their family and some of their staff are also very much still part of the hotel. And of course when you go into the kitchen and the little hallway behind the dish pit, you have all kinds of little spiritual presence from previous kitchen employees.
Okay, great.
So, very haunted.
Has anybody else stayed here? This is just me continuing on the question. But for the rest of you guys, have you had any experiences here since you came here today, this weekend?
A few hours before we gathered together, I met 2 who have transitioned into spirit. A gentleman on the 2nd floor and a lady on the staircase going up to the 3rd floor. And very emotional greetings we had. It's quite neat.
Okay, anybody else?
Well, I was honored to be able to go up to Mr. Pinckney's room just a few minutes ago, and I was very happy that he was actually able to connect with me and tell me about his life and his generosity, and how he has so much pride for what the staff are doing and keeping the building as much as possible the way it used to be. It was very, very nice to meet him.
We have Michelle in. She's asking Wanda a direct question now. Is Wanda in the middle? Yes. And she's asking, she looks like she's picked up someone.
Well, I was remembering one time when I was here before, as they were speaking, I was remembering someone, a spirit that I met here at in this particular unit. I saw an apparition. I could discuss that.
Yeah.
I saw a woman in the doorway behind us when you open this room that becomes a room for like the beds and that. And the woman was wearing a white, and it was quite fashionable, but it was quite like period dress, like older, pale. And she actually had a bell in her hand, and she was waving this bell was remembering that. So that might have been the look on my face. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah. Well, somebody caught your look on your face and wanted to find out why. I
So
guess.
they maybe they're psychic. They could see that something's going on.
There's something going on, yeah. Okay, well that's it for now. Other people that are in though is Oliver, Holly.
Hey, Ollie.
Now I could tell you something about Wanda. Wanda and I have known each other. Gee, it's been over
Since
20
like
years.
1995, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And our relationship started out as teacher-student. She was one of my stars, and you really were. And so enjoyed it. And we formed, some of the students formed like a group, and I guess we were called Merlin's Maidens or something. Remember we had that?
Oh, and we
Yeah.
did meet, and
Yeah,
one
we'd
you were
meet.
making a cape, and we'd do other things. Like you did.
Oh, we did the table tipping one time,
Yes.
and wax reading.
Table tipping.
Yeah, that was
And the
kind of
wax reading.
Yeah,
the
remember
wax
that?
reading. Yeah, the little
Yeah.
story with the things we picked up was neat.
Yeah.
And I got to read your palm at one time
Yes.
in my class. And I
Yes.
was seeing furniture and that, and I was just, and you were just about to move into a new place, and just after that, you got furniture from another student in the group. And it's nice to
Yes.
see. So that this is where things started to gel for me, is in your classes, and
Yeah.
I was able to really go on and move on to doing more tarot reading, and that took me on my way.
Yeah, and then we fell off touch in 2000s, and then when I started working with Mark and Trevor,
It brought us back to
it brought us
touch,
back together. Yes,
Yeah, and today we're both wearing the same stone, moldavite.
the moldavite. Yes,
I just thought, okay.
and just such a random stone because moldavite's a little bit of an unusual stone.
It's rare, as it is.
Yes, well, and it's an outer space stone. That's what I love about it.
It reminds me of the candle drippings that we did. The reading, those were different shapes, and it relates to a lot of the outer cosmos, like
Oh yeah,
extraterrestrial.
that was a lot of it. Yeah.
So, question to Deanna. Whenever you do readings, do you get them from photos or being there in person?
You mean when the clients?
And
Clients
general,
coming in person?
general question for this person.
So I don't do a lot of the psychometry. Basically what I do is I'll do in person or online and that, but I can connect with family members and loved ones wherever the person is. So I just open up and I ask for anybody that has a message for their loved one to please come through and give that message. And I don't know if you want to know how I do it or.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I use a little bit of everything. So you're saying about what do you call yourself, clairvoyant?
Clairvoyant.
Yeah, I'm really not quite sure, to be honest, what I am. But what I do is I hear things, I see things, I smell things, I taste things. They give me songs. Sometimes they change the words of the song to make the song make the message a little bit clearer for them. And as you guys have got to know me tonight, I'm a bit of a goofball, so sometimes my spirit guides will make me sing the song if they think that my energy is a bit too low, and that really embarrasses me because I can't sing. But I just basically do that, and then I just write down whatever I'm receiving, and then I just will pass on the messages that way.
Okay. Question going to Hilary. You actually you answered this a little bit earlier, but if you can go a little bit more in depth. The person wants to know, have you actually ever had any paranormal experiences, and if so, can you share with us?
I've had lots of paranormal experiences. One of the most recent was when we were at the military museum, and I tried to go in one of the rooms and basically walked into a wall and was bounced back, and it took me a little while to get through that. After my son Dylan and Wanda walked through, already they were in the room. I don't know what it was, why they didn't want me in there, but when Dylan was younger, he was with his cousin in a little room in an old farmhouse, and I was tentative about leaving them there because they were like 3 and 5 or something like that, and we were all like way downstairs, and it was a new place for them. And there was a older lady, also in the rocking chair started rocking, and there was an older lady. She appeared to me and said, "Don't worry, I'll look after them. You go have fun with the rest of the adults." And so there's been quite a few. Those are the two that really jump out at me right now, but there's been quite a few things.
All right. Question being drawn towards Wanda. All right. With new paranormal teams actually out there labeling themselves and think that they're higher than others, what do you think?
Well, I think everybody has to explore their and be on their own journey, for sure. And I believe there's enough ghosts for everybody to work on. And no, they're just. I just don't worry about it. I think that they're on their own journey and they're having fun and they're feeling good about it, and it's fine.
Now this is actually for everybody, but everybody will speak out once, please. What kind of energies are you guys getting from the building that you're staying in the city?
In this building today?
Yeah, and also within the city, since you guys were actually out in the city also.
So we each had our own little adventure today, and during the filming, and if you'd like us, we could speak about a few of the things that we picked up there, or that's not supposed to come out yet.
No, not yet, but just with inside the building itself, and then from being around Stratford, what have you guys picked up, and also with the building, what have you guys sort of picked up also?
Well, very energetic. I think this weekend has a lot of psychic energy surrounding the city. They must know that we're coming. But it's been good energy.
There's a shout out on chat to Diane from Shirley.
Okay. Hi, Shirley.
So she says hi, shout out to you.
Hi.
And there was one question that came through just recently. Where do you go here?
Well, Trevor's trying to find that. Actually,
right here.
you got it?
Yep. And Michelle is asking, why do I keep hearing the name Harold? From Michelle.
For us.
Anybody that's picking up anything about it? General question.
Yeah, I don't understand the nature of the question.
Does she want to know
yeah.
if
Is she
Harold's
just-
to us or?
Is she just picking up on the name clairaudiently, like there is somebody named Harold that's trying to get her attention, like a past spirit named Harold that's trying to get her attention?
Anyways, while Trevor's doing that, Wanda, if you sort of want to mention sort of what's coming up in a couple months with us.
Great. We have something coming up in May, and we will be doing a workshop with from a few different aspects of spiritual protection, different techniques. There will be some different exercises with experiencing energy and different ways that you can feel and sense energy. We'll be doing little different little exercises that way. And it's a different way of psychic development than you would normally go in and learn. So, like you might start from scratch. This is more of a intermediate to advanced type of way of sensing energy, especially if you're going into an investigation afterwards. You'll have your own toolkits, and you won't really need the dowsing rods or the other electronic tools. You'll turn yourself into a tool. I'll be like that.
We're all
How
tools.
one question from Brenda, and this relates to everybody. I guess each of you can take a turn. How old were you when you started realizing you had these gifts? So, how old were you when you started realizing?
We'll start from the back row.
Yeah. Or if you remember.
Well, I started having the deja vu or seeing places and things going on when I was like a little kid, like probably 2, 3, whatever, but I've just probably since I had the kids in the late 90s, that's when I really started noticing it again, like seeing things and feeling energy and stuff like that.
Okay, and Pam?
When I was young, I remember having a lot of, I'd say emotional distress, and I believe it was because I was a medium, I was an empath, and there were certain instances where I just had no control over my emotions and such like that. Certain times I would walk into a room, literally cross the threshold, I would break into tears. The moment I walk out, I felt like, well, why was I crying? I actually almost lost my year of school that one year. They medicated me, and about 4 years ago, I finally had enough of all the medication I was on. When I quit, a few weeks later, I saw my full apparition. It turned out to be a very nice gentleman. He was stuck because he was unable to cross over because what he had seen when he was around. But I wasn't afraid, but I realized what the medication had done to me is block off my abilities. And I've been working on it in the last 4 or 5 years since I've gone off the medication. And because of that, my depression has gone down, my anxiety has gone down, and I've seen a lot more, felt a lot more, had a lot of good experiences through this.
That's good. And Deanna?
It's same with them. From a very young age, I've always kind of, I guess I could say, felt different than others. I always felt things differently. I could see things that other people didn't see. Just always kind of knew there was something there. I used to be the kid that would have to go to the bathroom and get up and run really fast so that my feet didn't touch the floor. Go to the bathroom, turn on every light, and get back into bed. Yeah, and I kind of come from a family background of this as well. So my grandmother, my great-grandmother, so I grew up in hearing their stories as well. So it's just kind of come with me my whole life. So age-wise, I guess 6 or 7.
Okay. And Miss Wanda?
Well, I just remember all the times as a child in bed at night. As far back as I can remember, I would float out my bedroom window. I'd go up to the stars, go through the trees, the leaves, like out-of-body experiences almost every night. But I never talked about it. I just thought it was normal. But sometimes by the time I got up in the morning, I'd forgotten, but I didn't really forget. So there was all of that going on. So my fascination as I grew up was to understand these things more, which just led me on a journey. And it's been a pretty fascinating journey. A lot of different experiences and contact experiences.
And Sally, how about you?
All my life I've had the dreams, the deja vu, the just knowing, the kind of seeing through people. I don't know how else to put it. When I was 8, I realized that's not everybody's experience. I was a little different in that way. And I also realized that this is what I would be doing as an adult. I wasn't happy about it. I wanted to be president, but yeah.
You still can.
Yeah, who wants a job? Anyhow, I also, we lived in a haunted house, and I learned a lot about spirit when I was 12. Like, she talked about running off to the bathroom. we used to, you know, if we were up too late, you'd hear the old farmer in the hall, and he had some pretty heavy footsteps. So we'd all run to bed and put our heads, you know. And when I was about 12, I got sick of being chased to my bed. So I stood up, straightened my bed, looked at the darkened window and said, "Show yourself." And you know what? He tried. He tried. It was like you could see this little glow. And you ever see how a match burns out and going, he started doing that. And so I let him go because I knew he was getting tired. But the best part about it was many years later when I was doing Psychic Fears, did one of those photos, those aura photos, and it showed exactly that same form right next to me, right there. It was so cool. I was like, oh, the old farmer's with me.
Well, speaking of, as I'm monitoring chat for you guys here tonight, there's a chair behind you, Sally. I keep getting glimpses of something behind you. So I think somebody's sitting in the chair.
He's right here. Oh, he's been here
I
for
keep
the
getting,
last...
I think you're moving, but then I see something beyond you, like behind you more. And I think somebody's behind you in the chair.
Yeah, he's been sitting there for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, somebody's there. I keep seeing slight movement, so.
He's
thought to point that out.
actually, the pressure right here from him, he was, yeah.
So would it be Mr. Pinkney?
I'm not sure who it is. All I know is right now I'm feeling a lot of pressure, and the fact that something, you know, that's...
Yeah, there's definitely something to the side of you, too.
Yeah.
So it's in that chair beside you. So.
Chris, actually off. Sally and I, we just looked at each other. I just mentioned one name, and Sally and I actually know who it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I got some more questions in chat we can go with here. So let me go back here. Derek Furlong is in now. Says hello, guys.
Hi.
So thank you.
Hi, honey.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. Shirley has a question for the ladies. They want to say hi to. Shirley's picking up the name Mary. I was looking at the building and got a Mary, but from the era. I'm not sure what that means, but so she's picking up the name Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know that's possible because you were talking about the woman that you were picking up on earlier that's coming in and out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be that.
Probably.
Yeah. And Angelique Larocque is in, watching. That's sister.
Hi, cuz.
Yes. So she's in. She's wondering, actually, if anybody's had anybody haunt them, and how do you get them to leave? So if you want them to leave.
Well, why would you want them
Exactly.
to? Yeah.
We usually don't, but I think some people might. But is there any suggestions on
I've had
letting them go?
a few experiences, some of which we've had to have leave, and some which, I mean, they hang around because they're family members and I love them, so I'm not going to kick them out. One person I did have, I went to go see a medium, and she called on, for me, she called on Archangel Gabriel to take this entity away from me because it was causing a lot of problems. It was starting causing health problems, emotional. I couldn't understand why all of a sudden I wanted to throw dishes, and I'm not upset. All of a sudden I was very angry, and it turned out to be a gentleman who was very upset. So I had help removing it. Sometimes white lighting it, sometimes smudging it. Sometimes you need to ask for help if it's a negative energy.
Yes.
Also, if you go to the Emerald Muse, there's a dust called Ghost Be Gone, and that's kind of, you remember we had that just in case.
Yeah.
And if you have bad energies around you, sprinkle a little bit in all the corners of your room with that, and it'll take care of it. It's very protective.
For those that are tuning in late, can you please let them know where that location is?
The Emerald Muse is at 13 York Street in beautiful downtown Stratford.
And they're facing, actually, they're facing the swimming pool. The old
Yes.
swimming pool.
Yep. Okay, there's more questions now.
Is that the wind blowing out there?
Yes.
Not really.
But the mirror's
Picking up.
glowing too. Do you see that mirror?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, every time he types something, he wiggles the couch, which wiggles the sign.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's what it is.
So-
I don't have to go all to all of them. Try to get.
No, no. Oliver has a question here, so we'll jump to Ollie quick. Have any of you come across a dead room, or lack of a better word, where there's nothing or a void within the hotel? Here, I guess he means.
I mean, like, I actually find that third floor is a little quieter, especially when you get to the south. Wait a second. Yeah, the southwest corner of the building on the third floor, quite quiet. On the second floor, it's sort of quiet, but you can rile them up on that floor. I've seen them get riled up.
So the higher up you go, the quieter it gets.
Yes, and
Is that because more activity is downstairs? They like being when people are here, or are they more active when it's not busy here?
they're more active through the winter. I'm not sure whether that has to do with people being there or anything, but if you know about energies, right around Halloween, they say that the veil becomes thinnest, and so right when you get into autumn and winter, you're going to have more contact with the other side through the spring and the summer.
It's almost like they're in the opposite land, right? Like,
Yes.
we like to go out more in the summertime and hibernate in winter. The spirits become more active in winter at Christmas and stuff like that because they want to be around family and stuff still. So that's what we say as well. We think that's more active over the winter than the summer.
Yes, and they do get quite active here in the winter. I know it sounds weird, but I think it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy when people come up and people will share their experiences with me. And I think one of the strange, and I haven't told anybody this story, I swear I'm not crazy, but there was one time, and it happened 3 times, this fella comes up to the front desk, and it's when there's nobody around to see him but me, right? And comes to the front desk, and he starts telling me about, things like I played in the Pinckney Suite and stuff like that. But the stories that he's telling, they match the reality I know about the hotel, but he's way, way, way too young to have that. And then he just kind of wander off. And I got to thinking about the second time he came to the desk, it's like, wait a second, are you real? Are you really real? Are you? And he told me another story about the hotel from like the 20s and the 30s, and then he wanders off. And the third time I saw him, and by this time I figured out, you're not real. I know you're not real. He just walks past the front desk, looked at me, gave me a wink, and walked off. And that was the last time I ever saw him. That was the best. That's the first time I've ever told that story.
Oh, wow.
Brenda has a question now. Is there any other places in Stratford you have been to with lots of activity? Other than the Queens, I guess.
Now you guys can sort of share exactly what you guys came across today.
What are you looking at?
Well, let's go to the back and see what happened at the cemetery today.
Oh, okay. What, at the cemetery?
Yeah, you can explain about the
Okay.
cemetery, what you've come across.
As we were walking through the cemetery, first of all, I saw an animal. I'm not sure if it was a large dog or a small deer off in the bush area. And then as we started walking through, I saw a lovely lady just part way up the hill between the stones, and she was watching us, and actually she was making sure that we weren't there for any devious means. When she realized that we were just, walking around and doing what we were doing, she finally decided to walk off and go deeper into the cemetery. I wasn't impressed with the mausoleum, whereas I got terrible chest pains to the point where I could no longer breathe. My chest was being clenched really bad. I could feel there was somebody there who was very frightened, very scared, who had problems, and very curious but very scared, and didn't really want to, wanted to check it out but was too afraid. Was curious about us. Anybody else?
Deanna?
I'm trying to remember. Hilary and I went. Where did we go? The
Avon River, Shakespearean Gardens.
Go ahead.
Well, there was a big old tree that attracted me, so I went over to it, and it was like it was kind of telling me to go behind it, and then I realized that that's where the river was, and so it was trying to show me the river. It didn't really show me anything, it just kind of drew, like the energy just drew me right to the river. And then the tower that's there, it's like, yes, and it's right there, it kind of drawing you. I don't know.
Are you talking about Steam Stack?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was from one of the original mills along the river, because that used to be a lot deeper. They actually had paddle boat races up and down that river back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, before they dammed it up.
So
And that was kind of salvaged and put there. I thought you were talking about the tower on the courthouse, the one that looks down Ontario Street, because
No.
I know that there's a female up there, and she just watches.
Well, Deanna was at that location there today,
Right, the mill.
and you were picking up that the river was wider
Wider.
and bigger than
And
it was.
Yeah, and that tower didn't feel like it was where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
feel
it was just
right.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a little bit down the river.
Okay, so
See,
that was
there's
Okay.
confirmation of
Thank
what you're
you.
picking up.
yeah, because I had said was the river like wider? Like,
Yes, it was.
Because I was picturing the paddle boats and
Yeah.
that one tower. It was kind of like that does not belong there.
Yeah.
No, it was from the mills.
Okay, all right. And then what I was getting was I
You were-
didn't
you were
because
hugging
I don't know the area.
You were hugging that light post.
I was hugging the light post because I didn't want to get too close to the water. I felt like somebody was pushing me into the water, and I felt like I couldn't tell if it was a male or female, but I felt like I was kind of like on my knees going, please don't put me in that water. Like, don't put me in the water, don't put me in the water. And then I was smelling smoke, and I just had a whole bunch of emotions, anger, frustration. I kept saying, what was I saying? Oh, something about God have mercy on their souls. And it turned out that we were behind the courthouse?
By the
No,
jail.
behind the jail.
Behind the jail. I don't know if I can tell the rest of the story, but no. Yeah, so there was other things, but yeah, it was pretty interesting. But I was hugging. There was like a cement post, and I was hugging it because I was not going in that water. So it was pretty interesting.
Sally, besides here, since you live here in Stratford, is there anywhere else that you've actually picked up energy?
Oh, there's actually a place down on Erie Street that I cleaned out. You know, there's this row of buildings, and they're all kind of connected. And there was a spirit that was just really bedeviling a business owner. So I did my best to clean out the place, even though that's not necessarily my forte. I just knew that this time I could do it. And I cleaned it out and basically pushed the ghost to the next building over. Yeah.
One way to do it, right?
Did you take the broom to them?
Yeah.
The broom. Sweet.
Yes.
Any more questions?
No, nothing at the moment. We had a maximum so far of about 23 people viewing at once. That's pretty high for us, so thank you.
Yeah.
We get a lot of views afterwards if people watch the
Yeah.
videos, but as we get more tuning in as we're live, that's great too. So that's what we want to do.
Alright, so going back to that question,
Yeah.
before any more questions come in, alright, so basically the building or the area, besides the locations that we were just talking about, is there anywhere else that you guys have actually picked up? sort of driving throughout the city, or
Masonical.
explain about that
Yes.
location?
It has a lot of activity there. I've seen like a full apparition there, looking out of a padlocked door, so I know it wasn't a real person. I see orbs all the time up by the lights. There's 2 all the time there. And one time I just, I didn't leave my body, but I sort of did. I kind of went back into the past, and the concert that was going on faded, and I was in like a dining area. People were in fancy dress. You could hear the silverware clinking against the dishes and the glasses, and the dresses ruffling against each other and stuff like that. And then we were just there recently again at another concert, and I was talking to a friend, and they said that the first time they were ever at the Masonic was at like a wedding reception. So that's what they used to have there all the time. So I'm wondering if that's maybe what.
And can you sort of explain to people what the building is actually?
They've converted it into like the main room is like a big concert hall. They did last year, the year before, the theater took it over for the season. We did some updates on it, but yeah.
Just to break it, it has been a concert hall since like the 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has some history. It's got a floating dance floor and everything in there. So it has a history of being a concert hall for years and years in Stratford.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about Stratford, they have ley lines. Like if you look at the map of Stratford, the roads actually form a pentagram.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying, watch where you move to in Stratford. Inside or outside the pentagram.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for cutting in, but there's a picture actually of Stratford downtown. You can sort of explain to people.
Okay, so
Actually, if you want to show the viewers.
You have to
Turn
flip
it
it
around.
when she's ready, yeah.
okay, so
It's not
yeah,
enough of it.
you don't really see enough of
bring
it,
it up
but
higher.
you've got the streets that run at an angle here and
Yeah.
here and here, and then this forms another one of it. You don't have enough of it, but it forms a pentagram right there.
Yeah. So right here is right where she's talking about. It's Chris actually here. Hey. So right at this location here.
Yes.
I didn't know that either. Now we've been in this area since I was 16.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just one of the many things that we discussed down at the Emerald Muse.
All right. And one other thing about underground, underneath the city. Sally, can you explain to people sort of what's underneath the city, what we found out from doing a seance?
Well, now we already talked about the tunnels, and I know that you picked up on underground water.
Yeah.
But you know what it actually is that there used to be a lot more streams through Stratford. If you read Flood Tides of Fortune, there used to be streams, and they'd use them to from the wood mills to convert the wood waste. So there were times when kids got injured or even drowned in those rivers because they'd go down there and want to play with the wood pieces and that.
Okay. All right. And then final question actually from me directly. If people want readings or want to be able to find out more information, where can they find out about you?
Okay. Either go to the Facebook page Clairvoyant Psychic Sally Diane and you will have the link, or contact the Emerald Muse in Stratford and make your appointment with Felicitas. I have a little reading room there, and I read on Saturdays, Sundays, and Tuesdays.
Okay, and Wanda? Where can they reach you at? Or if you want.
Well, I'm not actively reading right now. for the public, so,
If they have any
but if
paranormal
they'd
type
still like
questions.
to have, connect with me, they can do so on Facebook, and, Wanda Hewer-Jackson on Facebook.
Okay.
If they would like to book a reading or talk to me, they could do it through my Facebook page, Whispers of Eden, or my email address, whispersofeden@outlook.com.
Anybody else?
If you want to contact me and ask any questions, you can contact me through OGPS, and they'll get a hold of me and let me know.
Yep.
Thank you.
And you don't.
I don't really do any readings, but if anyone has any questions for me, I have a Facebook page, just Hilary Fletcher.
Give her a couple years, she will.
She's gonna be running circles around all of us.
That's right.
Okay.
Shirley, if you're there, why aren't you asking questions?
We do have one new one from Leanne. She's wondering what streets are part of the pentagram that you're talking about.
Okay, I know that,
It's only a partial map.
it's only a partial map.
Yes.
I don't have my glasses on.
Want one?
Okay, so it's,
Downey.
Downey and Wellington are two of the legs of it. And I'm not sure about the rest of them, because this isn't a complete map, and I know that if you look at a complete street map, you will see it, but the sides of it are Downey and Wellington.
And also Erie.
Erie. So. I wish I had the map in front of me before I said anything.
Well, don't worry, because it's actually true.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I've discussed it, so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry
I
it
never
couldn't
knew
have been
that.
better.
But it was good to find that
Yeah.
out.
A little bit of a senior moment there.
Now the audience can do their research.
Right.
Yes, look at a street map, find it.
Shirley says she's busy listening to you. So.
What about Bob?
I haven't seen a
Hi, Bob.
No Bob in yet.
That's probably scared.
No Tanisha in yet.
You never know, they could be just watching.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
alright.
All right. Well, we thank you, ladies, very much for helping us not only today, but being a part of our OGPS filming team, Haunting Live tonight, and hope we can get together in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching Haunting Live.
Yes.
Thank you.